All right, this is the first time that Georgia's really been popped by the transfer portal. Marvin Jones Jr. announcing that he's going to be in the transfer portal, and we're just going to see how this progresses as time goes on. But I got to say, this is the first time I think that Georgia's really been hit negatively by the portal. I did think that Marvin Jones would have more production by now, but I also at Georgia. But I also recognize that he's a very good player and has the capability of really being good wherever he winds up. I don't know where that will be, but I think that for Georgia, what we don't know. I was talking with Matt DeBerry about this earlier, and Matt from our from watching this and over if you're a subscriber at Dawg Post. What we don't know now is who Georgia's going to bring in. So at this point, you're looking at 14 guys have left. 13 of them were on scholarship. Makai Muse was not on scholarship, so there's that. But, if they were sitting at 86 earlier this week, during the season, so 86, one of which was Tramel Walthour was a COVID player. And you could still have COVID players coming back, and that doesn't go against the 85. So there's all sorts of, juggling to do. But Georgia was going to have to Georgia was going to have to recalibrate its roster coming into this season like they have done for the last 30 years. I mean, it's just what it is. But I think the process here is going to be this, y'all. Georgia's not going to, take any transfers until this class comes in. And talking with Matt earlier today, with the exception of Dwight Phillips and I think the offensive lineman from New York, all of the players are going to be, this class is going to either be on campus for practices for the bowl or they're going to be there right after in January. I mean, we're seeing this more and more over time with the way that things have gone. And guys are just leaving high school early. I don't know that it's the healthiest thing on earth, but, it's their life and they need to do whatever they want to do. But this is the first time that someone who really could have started next year is leaving. I think Austin Pulaski could have left. He could have started, but Marvin Jones was out there a lot. Again, the production was not quite where I thought it would be. So let me tell you a little bit more about how this thing is going to work as time goes on here. So the guys who are going to sign with Georgia on the 20th, so 5 days before Christmas, a week from today, those guys will all come in already. And what will happen after that is where there are issues, Georgia will address them. It's also becoming relatively clear, and I think Matt will talk about this, that, with the Dylan Raiola situation, he's still committed to Georgia, but I have no expectation that he goes to Georgia. That, I think, was a matter of him not understanding that Carson Beck very well could be around for another year, but other folks can talk about that. We'll get a little bit more digging into that. I don't know that this was necessarily an NIL deal, but it could be. It probably is always a combination of the two things. Hey, our friends at EcoPoly, this is how I'm celebrating Christmas. I'm sitting in one of their chairs right now, if you must know. It looks, the color scheme is red and black, just like this one. This is the Adirondack chair. They have these in rockers. This is a 37-pound chair, y'all. I weigh 235 pounds. I am not going to break this chair. I've jumped on these chairs. They're not going to break. They have a 20-year warranty. They're made of completely recycled plastics in the heart of Georgia in Dodge County. These guys are doing a great job, EcoPoly. Everybody, y'all should see the facility down there. It's really nice. They're getting the job done. This can be in your backyard. This can be on the front stoop of your, looking out over the ocean or maybe looking at the lake. There's different ways that you can do it with the color schemes, but I'm showing you red and black. But anyway, our friends at EcoPoly are a great friend, and we'll have a lot more to say about them in the near future. As it relates to Marvin Jones, it's just too bad. And but I don't think there's anything to really kind of get bent out of shape about. If you're Brock Vandagriff, for instance, it was time to go. It was time to go. And, why do I say that? Look, he's been at Georgia in 21, 22, and 23. He's not played a significant down yet. It's time to go play significant downs, and he's going to do that for Kentucky. For Marvin Jones Jr., obviously the immediate speculation would be the Knowles, but we don't we don't know. I mean, I can't report that. That's speculative. So uh, Georgia, in terms of how it's structuring its roster, how it's dealing with NIL deals, we're not hearing any absolutely crazy numbers. That's just not something that's been going on as it relates to recruiting. So the portal, I think, would mimic that. Um, the value in playing at Georgia is multifold, but I'll go over two of them. A, perhaps with the exception of Alabama, there's nobody on the level of those two programs in terms of producing guys for NFL, for the future, their future in the NFL. There's no program that is better than Alabama or Georgia in terms of developing players. They're not out there. B, along with playing Alabama or playing against Georgia or Tennessee or Florida or Texas A&M or LSU or whoever, this league gives you not just the ability to play those guys every single week. I mean, the SEC is as close to the NFL as you get. But it also gives you, by the way, the spotlight to where you're going to be playing in big games, in big moments. And now you're going to be doing that more often. Later tonight, I'm going to be going live on YouTube with Ryan. And we're probably going to start at about 7:30 or 7. We're not going to go all night, so jump on board right when we start. And this league now has already, on Good Morning America today, has showcased, okay, we're going to do Alabama, Georgia. That game's going to be at 7:30 at night. It's going to be on ABC. Yeah. Well, we know Georgia, Texas is going to be on October, I think it's 19th, whatever it is. We already know when several of Georgia's games are. I mean, the Clemson game is going to be the first Saturday of the season in Labor Day. Well, we know when that game. We don't know the time yet, but we'll know it soon enough. Don't worry. And then you've got the Tennessee Tech game is on the 14th. Alabama on the road. That game's a 7:30 ABC kickoff. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, College Game Day will be there. I'm not reporting that. I'm telling you that, though. It's Georgia and Alabama. It's the second most watched game since 2012. And they don't play every year. The only game bigger than that game, you tell me. You want to guess? It's pretty easy. It's Michigan, Ohio State. They play every year. Georgia and Bama don't play every year, and that's the only game, narrowly, that has more viewership since 2012. The college football playoffs' wet dream is to have a Final Four of Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, and Michigan. They nearly got that last year. They nearly got that, but TCU got in their way. Anyway, so you've got those two will clash, and the SEC championship game, I think, was 17 or 18 million viewers. That will probably be closer to like 10 or 12, maybe 13, 14 million viewers. It's not going to have the same get up and go as an SEC championship game. But then you've got Georgia, Texas. We know Georgia, Florida. That's a contract game. And then we've got UMass and Georgia Tech. So we know when a lot of the other thing is just filling in the dots. When is Georgia playing Kentucky? When are they playing the Rebels? When are they playing State? When are they playing Tennessee? So, I mean, my guess is that Kentucky will be early, Tennessee will be late. Georgia's bent over backwards doing its part for the SEC and its broadcast partners with playing tough games. The second to last game of the season, they got UMass this year. And I don't think that sort of stuff's going to change either. But, when you look at guys transferring, what are they getting? What is the value for them to leave? And then what do they leave behind? So for Georgia, the problem here, I would say more than anything, is you've got Smile Monday, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, and Chaz Chambliss. They are, and Walker are all veteran linebackers who are playing. Walker plays inside and out. Chambliss is only outside. Monday and Dumas-Johnson are both inside guys. But you've got some really good linebackers that are young that are coming in. I mean, we've already seen with Allen, Allen, Harris. There's been a bunch of younger players who are playing at linebacker. So it's not shocking that if you're not getting exactly where you want to go, that maybe you leave in this climate. I will add, though, that it's tricky to leave in certain spots. I think if you're a quarterback, that makes sense. I think if you're a linebacker and you leave in Georgia, it's got to make a lot of sense because there's been tremendous production from Georgia to the NFL in terms of Quay Walker, Roquan, Nolan. I mean, that's first-round guys off the top of my head. So, Nakobe Dean was not a first-round guy, but he's mattered at the Eagles. So, there's a lot. It's got to make sense, and hopefully for Marvin, this makes sense because he has the potential to be a significantly good player. Usually, these guys know something that we don't know. So does that mean that Smile and Pop are coming back? I mean, I don't know, but he's more of an outside guy, Marvin, anyway. But this program is not about any one player. I've talked about that a million times. But you don't want to lose really good players. This is the first time Georgia has lost a really good player who could really help them next year.